Your brain has been hijacked, not by some external enemy, but by a habit so quiet, so normalized, that most people don't even realize it's enslaving them. Years of constant release, easy pleasure, and digital stimulation have silently rewired your mind to chase the fake, while abandoning the real. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly felt alive? Not just scrolling through screens or chasing quick highs, but actually driven, focused, and unstoppable. If it's been a while, you're not alone. And no, you're not broken. But you have been programmed. That endless cycle of masturbation isn't just a physical act. It's a mental trap. Every time you give in, you're feeding the neural circuits of escape, not empowerment. You're rewarding yourself for doing nothing. And over time, that literally reshapes how your brain works, reducing your drive, numbing your emotions, and weakening your willpower. You start to feel unmotivated, lazy, ashamed, stuck. But here's the truth no one tells you. Your brain can be rewired, not with some magical hack, but with proven methods that retrain your reward system, reboot your focus, and restore the power you once had. And in this video, you'll discover exactly how to do that, step by step. If you stay till the end, you'll not only learn how to break free, you'll learn how to build a stronger, more disciplined, more dangerous version of yourself, a version that's no longer addicted to pleasure, but addicted to purpose. What's waiting on the other side of that screen isn't just self-control, it's your rebirth, and it starts now. It's not the act itself, it's the pattern. Over time, repeated stimulation through masturbation, especially when combined with porn, reshapes your brain's reward system in a way that very few people understand. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. Every time you engage in this habit, your brain releases a surge of dopamine, the feel-good chemical that makes you feel rewarded and satisfied. But unlike dopamine released from hard-earned achievements or real human connection, this flood comes instantly, with no effort. Your brain starts to associate pleasure, not with growth or effort, but with a screen in your hand. This is where the hijack begins. The brain's reward system is like a thermostat. It's meant to regulate motivation, focus, and energy towards survival and achievement. But when dopamine is constantly being spiked artificially, your brain gets lazy. It stops caring about long-term goals. Why chase purpose when pleasure is one click away? And then comes the trap of instant gratification. You may tell yourself it's just for stress relief, or that you'll quit tomorrow. But that's the illusion. The brain, once wired for short-term relief, begins to crave more of it, even when it costs your energy, confidence, and mental clarity. It's like giving candy to a child instead of feeding them real food. Eventually, they reject what's good for them. Over time, repetition forms deeply ingrained neural pathways. The more you act out the same behavior in response to stress, boredom, or loneliness, the more automatic it becomes. These pathways become highways in your brain, easy to travel, hard to rewrite. This is why you might find yourself falling back into the habit even when you don't want to. Your brain isn't working against you, it's just been trained wrong. But here's the powerful part. Anything that's been wired in can be rewired. It takes intention, strategy, and effort, but it's absolutely possible. The brain is plastic. It adapts. And when you remove the false pleasure and replace it with real purpose-driven rewards, those old neural highways begin to shrink. This isn't about shame. It's about reclaiming your brain, reclaiming your life, because the same mind that got stuck can also get free. You wake up tired, even after 8 hours of sleep. Your to-do list stares at you, but you can't bring yourself to start. Minutes turn into hours. And by the end of the day, you've accomplished nothing, but somehow your brain still feels drained. If this sounds familiar, you're not just lazy, something deeper is going on. Let's talk about brain fog. That constant dull haze where your thoughts feel heavy and slow. You can't think clearly, you forget things. You can't focus in conversation. This isn't just a bad day, it's a result of a brain that's been overstimulated and undernourished for too long. Your dopamine system is fried. The constant hits of pleasure from masturbation have numbed your mind to the point where nothing excites it anymore. Not goals, not growth, not even real connection. And when dopamine crashes, your energy goes with it. You feel sluggish, like you're walking through life with weights tied to your legs. One moment you're fine, the next you're irritated, sad, or just empty. These mood swings aren't random. They're your brain crying out for balance. You've trained it to expect constant rewards. And when those rewards don't come, it spirals. Then there's your willpower. Remember when you could say no to distractions, when you had the fire to get things done. Now even the smallest task feels like a battle. You scroll, you snooze, you delay. This is because your brain has been conditioned to chase what's easy, not what's necessary. Focus fades because it hasn't been used. Willpower weakens because it hasn't been exercised. And slowly, you start avoiding people, not because you don't care, but because you feel off. You might feel shame, discomfort, or just total disinterest in human interaction. Real connection feels overwhelming or exhausting, so you retreat, alone. Again, that isolation becomes a habit, and it starts to redefine your identity. But here's the thing, none of this is permanent. These signs are warnings, not life sentences. The brain that's been burned out can be reignited. You're not weak, you've just been rewired the wrong way. And once you recognize these signs, you can start taking back control, because awareness is the first step toward transformation. There comes a point where your mind feels too crowded, too noisy, too chaotic. That's your brain begging for a reset, and that reset begins with one powerful decision. Step away from the source. Quitting cold turkey might sound extreme, but for many it's the only way to interrupt the loop. Whether you call it nofap or just controlled abstinence, the goal isn't just to stop touching yourself, it's to stop feeding the addiction. Every urge you resist weakens the chain. Every moment you say no, you're telling your brain, I'm in control now. But here's the catch. You can't just stop and expect everything to change. You have to create distance between you and the triggers. That means muting or unfollowing accounts that post sexual content, deleting apps that tempt you when you're bored, even rethinking the shows or music you consume. Fantasies are sneaky. They creep in silently and stir the same circuits. Cut them off before they grow. This is war, and your environment is either fighting for you or against you. Of course, if you try to remove something without replacing it, your brain will rebel. That's why you need new anchors. Instead of reaching for your phone during downtime, go for a walk, journal your thoughts, or hit a quick workout. Build habits that reward you in real life, not in your head. You're not just quitting a habit, you're building a life where that habit doesn't fit anymore. And yes, track your streak, not because numbers make you strong, but because momentum matters. Each day builds confidence, but if you slip, don't spiral. Don't throw away a week of progress because of one weak moment. You didn't fail, you learned. Stand up, analyze the trigger, adjust, and move forward. This phase isn't easy. You'll face cravings, boredom, and maybe even emotional pain. But all of that is the detox. It's your brain cleaning house. And every hard day you survive without giving in is one step closer to clarity, power, and peace. Your brain is not a fixed machine. It's a living, adapting system. Every thought, every action, every decision you repeat becomes a signal to your brain. Build this into me. That's the secret to rewiring. You're not just trying to avoid an old habit anymore. You're actively installing new, powerful ones in its place. Start with your mind. One of the most underrated weapons in this journey is daily journaling. Every time you write down your urges, your emotions, your triggers, you take power away from them. You're not running from your thoughts anymore, you're facing them. And that honesty builds clarity. You'll begin to notice patterns. When the urges hit, what emotions they're tied to, what lies you tell yourself before giving in. Awareness turns confusion into strategy. Next, you have to train your focus. Meditation isn't just some peaceful breathing practice. It's brain training. Each time your attention drifts and you bring it back, you're strengthening your mental discipline. Start small. Just 5-10 minutes a day. Sit in silence. Observe your breath and allow the noise to settle. This teaches your brain not to chase every thought, every craving, every instant distraction. Over time, you'll respond, not react. That changes everything. And then there's the body. One of the fastest ways to shift your mental state is through cold showers. They shock your system, activate your discipline, and remind you that discomfort won't kill you. In fact, leaning into discomfort daily builds your tolerance to cravings. Add to that a strong daily routine, waking up early, moving your body, doing hard things. Discipline becomes your identity, not just a checklist. But all of this only works if you replace the source of your dopamine. If you keep your brain bored, it'll default back to what it knows. So give it new highs, just healthier ones. Start working out, learn a new skill, build some, create, teach, challenge yourself. These things spark natural dopamine, but they also build confidence, purpose, and self-respect. This stage isn't about avoiding who you were. It's about becoming someone stronger. And every habit you install is a brick in the foundation of the man you're building. This isn't behavior change. It's an identity shift. You can't win this battle by staying the same person who lost it 100 times before. The final step isn't just about quitting a habit. It's about becoming someone new. Until you shift your identity, you'll always feel like you're just fighting temptation. But when you become the man who doesn't need it anymore, the war ends. Every day, start telling your brain a new story. When you look in the mirror, stop seeing someone who's struggling. Start seeing someone who's healing, rebuilding, transforming. This is where visualization comes in. Close your eyes and see the man you're becoming. Picture how he walks, how he talks, how he works. Your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and memory. So the more you visualize your higher self, the more your mind starts working to make it real. Pair this with daily affirmations, not generic, forced phrases, but specific truth-filled reminders of your direction. I control my urges. I choose purpose. I'm building a powerful life. Say them with conviction. Every repetition carves a new groove into your mind, rewiring your beliefs about yourself. But none of this works without self-respect. And self-respect is born from sacrifice. Every time you delay gratification, every time you walk away from comfort, you're proving to yourself that you're worth more than a cheap thrill. That you're worth more than a cheap thrill. That you value your future more than a moment of weakness. That kind of self-control stacks into deep, unshakable confidence. It tells your brain, I am the type of man who chooses growth over pleasure. Now take that energy and build habits that reinforce your new identity. Wake up before the world does. Hit the gym and build strength, not just physical, but mental. Hustle, work on something that matters. Turn your pain into purpose. Masculine energy thrives on direction, pressure, challenge. The more you lean into that grind, the less space there is for destructive habits. You're not faking it. You're forging it. One decision at a time. And soon you'll realize, you're not the same man who started this journey. You've evolved. You've earned it. You are the new identity. And the world is already starting to notice. When your life lacks direction, your mind becomes a playground for distraction. That's why most people keep falling back into the same cycle. They don't have something bigger pulling them forward. Discipline without purpose eventually dies. But once you attach your energy to something greater, something that lights you up inside, the temptation to waste yourself fades away. Ask yourself, what am I building? If the answer is nothing, you'll find yourself constantly reaching for comfort. But when you channel your energy into something that matters, whether it's a business, strong body, or a personal brand, you start to feel that fire. Every day has a reason. Every task becomes meaningful. Suddenly you're not escaping your life, you're engaged in it. This is where your most powerful fuel, sexual energy, comes into play. The ancient principle of brahmacharya isn't about suppression, it's about direction. That intense energy inside you, the same force that once fueled your addiction, can now be used to build, create, and dominate. It's the same energy that's behind warriors, inventors, visionaries. When conserved and redirected, it becomes raw focus, deep creativity, and magnetic presence. But to sustain this new power, you need targets. Vague motivation fades fast, so set clear, long-term goals. Define where you want to be in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years. Break them down into steps. The moment your brain has a path and a destination, it starts ignoring the short-term noise. That's how you shift from instant pleasure to delayed gratification. You're no longer chasing shallow highs, you're building deep, lasting wins. Purpose gives pain a reason. When you're tired, when you're tempted, when you're doubting yourself, your purpose reminds you why you started. It keeps you grounded when emotions rise, and focused when distractions come. And the more you align your daily actions with that mission, the less time you'll spend wrestling with urges. You simply won't have the space for it. This isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming anchored. A man with direction can't be easily swayed. And when your life is driven by purpose, your past habits stop controlling you, because your future becomes louder than your urges. When the body breaks, we rest. But when the soul is wounded, most people ignore it, pretending it's all in their head, numbing it with noise, or burying it under distraction. But true transformation doesn't just happen at the surface, it happens deep inside, where your beliefs, identity, and purpose live. Healing your brain without healing your spirit is like fixing the engine while ignoring the fire under the hood. That's where spiritual discipline becomes a weapon, not as a ritual, but as a reconnection. When you pray, you aren't just speaking into the air, you're aligning your inner chaos with a higher order. You're acknowledging that you're not meant to fight alone. Whether you believe in God, the universe, or your own higher self, consistent prayer brings clarity, peace, and strength when the battle gets heavy. And then there's fasting, a forgotten art of mental and spiritual mastery. Not just skipping food, but saying no to impulses, rewiring your relationship with comfort. When you deny the body, the mind sharpens. When the mind sharpens, the spirit awakens. Fasting silences the noise of cravings and reintroduces you to stillness, where real change happens. If you want to renew your mind, start feeding it truth. Scripture and philosophical texts carry wisdom refined by centuries of suffering, growth, and self-mastery. These words don't just teach, they transform. They remind you that you're not the first to struggle. They guide you back when you're lost. They plant seeds of courage, patience, and purpose. 10 minutes a day with the right words can shift the direction of your entire life. But above all, let go of shame. Guilt is natural. It shows you care. But shame, that's poison. It tells you that you're broken, unworthy, too far gone. Don't believe it. The truth is, you're growing, you're learning, you're rising from something many never escape. Choosing growth over guilt means allowing yourself to fall, then getting up wiser, stronger, more focused. You're not dirty. You're in the process of becoming clean, and healing isn't instant. It's sacred. It takes time, faith, and love, especially for yourself. Let grace carry you where willpower can't. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about quitting a habit, it's about reclaiming your soul. Everyone wants to know the timeline. How long until I feel normal again? The truth is, your brain didn't get rewired overnight, and it won't heal overnight either. But there's a clear pattern. If you stay consistent, the transformation becomes not only possible, it becomes inevitable. The first 30 days are war. This is where the cravings are the loudest, your body feels restless, and your mind tries to convince you to quit. You may experience mood swings, insomnia, anxiety, and even random waves of sadness or frustration. This is physical withdrawal, and it's your brain adjusting to life without constant dopamine spikes. Your nervous system is recalibrating. It's uncomfortable, but it's temporary. And once you survive this storm, everything starts to shift. By day 60 to 90, something incredible happens. Your mind begins to clear. The fog lifts. You start waking up with more energy. The urge to chase instant gratification weakens, and you notice yourself making more conscious choices. Focus returns. You begin to feel present in conversations. You actually enjoy the little things again. Sunlight, music, movement. This is your brain reconnecting with reality. The reward system is healing. You're no longer just surviving without pleasure. You're finding pleasure in living. Crossing the 90-day mark is where things begin to solidify. That at 24 days, you step into a whole new version of yourself. The new habits feel natural. The identity shift is real. You're no longer forcing discipline. It's part of you now. Your brain has rewired. Old pathways have weakened. You respond instead of react. Temptation doesn't control you anymore because you've replaced it, not just resisted it. But here's the key. Don't obsess over the timeline. It's not about hitting some magical day. It's about stacking victories, one day at a time. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days you'll struggle to get out of bed. That's normal. Stay grounded in your vision, not in your emotions. Remember, this process isn't just about quitting something toxic. It's about becoming someone powerful. And once your brain gets a taste of that power, there's no going back. The moment you relapse, it hits you like a punch to the gut. Guilt, shame, that heavy voice in your head whispering, you've ruined everything. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. Relapse isn't the end of your journey. It's part of it. What matters isn't that you fell, but how you rise after falling. The worst thing you can do is quit. One mistake doesn't erase weeks of progress. You don't go back to zero. You go back to learning. And in that learning lies power. Every time you relapse, your job isn't to wallow. It's to restart with even more clarity. because now you know exactly what your trigger was, what time it happened, what emotion you were running from. That's data. That's insight. And insight gives you control. Instead of asking, why did I fail? Ask, what was the pattern? Maybe it was late at night, you were bored, or you scrolled a little too long on social media. Whatever it was, identify it, own it, adjust for it. This is how real change happens. You're not just breaking a habit, you're learning how your mind works under pressure. And the better you understand your mind, the harder it becomes for urges to trick you again. Use the pain of relapse as fuel. Let it burn, not to destroy you, but to remind you of what you don't want. The emptiness, the disappointment, the lost momentum. Don't numb that pain. Channel it. Use it to strengthen your discipline, to refine your systems, to deepen your resolve. Pain is a brutal but honest teacher, and it always leaves behind a lesson. And most importantly, when everything feels heavy again, go back to your why. Why did you start this journey in the first place? What was broken in your life that you finally wanted to fix? What version of yourself are you trying to become? Write that reason down. Keep it close, because when the storm hits again, and it will, it's your why that keeps your feet planted. Relapse doesn't make you weak. Staying down does. So rise again. Every great transformation is built on moments of failure, followed by bold comebacks. And this time, you're rising wiser. Most people have no idea what they're missing. They think freedom from addiction is just about not doing the bad thing. But the truth is, what's waiting on the other side is so much more than just self-control. It's a total transformation. It's the return of your power. Imagine waking up with a sharper mind, one that isn't cluttered by guilt, fantasy, or distraction. Your thoughts become clear, your decisions feel intentional, and your focus becomes razor sharp. Suddenly you're not drifting through life, you're driving it. You walk into your day with clarity, knowing exactly what needs to be done, and you actually have the energy to do it. That mental fog, gone, replaced by direction and drive. Then there's the shift in how people see you, even if they don't know what you've been through. There's something magnetic about a man who's mastered himself. You start speaking with more presence, listening with more depth, moving with more certainty. That quiet confidence doesn't scream, it radiates. In conversations, people feel your energy. In relationships, they feel your stability. Spiritually, you feel connected again, not because you've become perfect, but because you've become real, aligned, grounded, and beneath it all, there's something primal that comes alive again. Your masculine edge, the part of you that thrives in pressure, that hungers for challenge, that's built to lead and protect and conquer. The part of you that society has tried to suppress. When you stop wasting your energy on cheap pleasure, that energy returns in full force. You become harder to manipulate, harder to break, and far more dangerous, in the best way. But maybe the most powerful reward of all, you begin to build a life you're proud of, not a fantasy, not someone else's version of success, your life, shaped by your choices, defined by your discipline, rooted in purpose. Every morning you wake up knowing you're becoming the man you used to dream about. And the best part, this version of you isn't some distant idea. He's already inside you, waiting. You've just spent years burying him under distractions. Now you've done the hard work to set him free. This is who you were always meant to be. And the journey was never about perfection. It was about returning to your true power. You've just walked through the journey most men never dare to take. The journey of reclaiming your mind, your body, and your identity. This wasn't just about quitting a habit. It was about facing yourself, about choosing growth over comfort, purpose over pleasure, and freedom over slavery. And if you've made it this far, that means something inside you is ready to evolve, ready to lead, ready to ride. The world doesn't need more men addicted to screens, lost in fantasy, numbed by shame. It needs men who are awake, men who have trained their minds, who can delay pleasure, who can say no when it matters, and yes to what truly counts. Men who've walked through the fire and came out forged, not burned. Every step you take on this path reshapes you. You may stumble, you may fall, but now you know how to get back up. You know the patterns, you know the traps, you know how to fight back. And most importantly, you know who you're becoming. This journey is not for the weak. It demands patience, pain, and persistence. But what you get in return is priceless. A sharp mind, a strong body, a focused spirit, and a life that actually means something. You'll stop chasing escape and start chasing purpose. You'll stop hiding and start building. You've already taken the hardest step, waking up. Now don't stop. Keep going. Keep rewiring. Keep rising. Because the man you're becoming, he's not just your future, he's your legacy. And when the world looks at you and wonders what changed, you'll know the answer. You rewired your brain. You reclaimed your power, and you chose to become the man you were always meant to be. Stay focused. Stay grounded. Stay dangerous. This is just the beginning.